What's up? This is Andy Klaus. My Christmas Santa suit's at the fucking dry cleaner, so forget how I'm dressed. I guess this is the Christmas episode of this bitch, so... Alright.
Hey, Ryan, you need to just... This is a song you should listen to. Listen to this song.
It sounds more exciting than what it is.
So let's see how we can lose our next 3 listeners.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Let's try to work on our people skills.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Alright, testicles, 1, 2, testicles, 1, 2. This is In the Meantime with MeanDave. Episode, it's 43 now. Yeah, something like that, 43. Or is it 42? I don't fucking know anymore. Whatever. It's one of those fucking weeks. Yeah. Guests today are my buddies, Aaron Arevalo and Jesus Cruz. A couple of good dudes I know from started from doing comedy, and then they both became kind of staples in my life as friends. It's kind of, we'll talk about kind of our little history, how we met and how that came about. But yeah, they're both really cool dudes, very interesting dudes who have been parts of entertainment and creativity and just strange ways. Here's one of them. We got Aaron here. What's up, Aaron? Good. Yep, audio's working. Hell yeah! Right on, sir. Thanks for joining me on my laptop here.
No problem.
Right on, man. So how's it going? I see you got a Morrissey shirt on there, Thrasher style Morrissey shirt.
Yeah, Mexicans love to steal shit, so they stole the logo.
He ain't Mexican though. He didn't steal nothing.
No, not at all. He just has a huge subculture, Latino love that's really, really weird. But the man knows what side his bread is buttered on. He definitely appeases the Latinos.
Mm-hmm. It is an interesting thing. I grew up being the metalhead Mexican that was told I wasn't real Mexican because I liked metal and other weird bands and stuff. And then I was playing a show with a band like 2004 in East Los Angeles, filled with Mexican kids and all kinds of.
I had the same experience. I didn't play in any bands, but just growing up, I kind of had to hide. I loved like Pantera and I first got into Metallica, Pantera, metal before I got into hard metal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I had to hide it because it's like, oh, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then once you get older, once I got older, I got out there. I'm like, dude, these guys have a huge Latino fan base. Pantera, fucking all these guys
they play in heavier bands in Mexico.
Yeah.
Talk about, third world countries all around the world, they've got such heavy bands and stuff. It cracked me up because the chick who told me that I wasn't a real Mexican because I didn't like the Raiders and I didn't listen to rap. She works at Safeway now. So last I saw her, she worked at a Safeway bagging groceries. I'm like, you're not a real Mexican if you're not in a taqueria.
Mi pueblo.
I like any of that shit. So, what's up? Jesus, yes, we can hear you. I like how he's got a Cypress Hill shirt on. I just sent him a message about Cypress Hill. he posted a picture of a stack of Cypress Hill CDs, and I got every one of these, and 2 House of Pains. It was just missing Funk Dubious, which is the only group I can still listen to out of that.
That was a shirt that I had before this one. That's the one I wore to work.
Yeah. Is it the one with the lady on the front?
No, it's just the same color as this one, but just the Funk Dubious logo, the letters.
I wish I had that one. Mine got really. Mine's in storage at a place my buddy won't let me into. But it's.
I ordered the one with the lady, and then from the DJ from Ralph M.
Yeah.
And I never got it.
Ralph M. the Mexican. Wow.
Hey, he needs the money, man.
Yeah, shit. Which doobie you be? That's what it said. But yes,
Doobie
welcome,
Yoobie.
Jesus Cruz, Aaron Arevalo. Thank you for joining me here on my meantime here. Basically, like Aaron was asking, what's the theme or whatnot, and I was like, most of these recent episodes I've been making have been like sort of time capsules with like friends and stuff that I find interesting. You guys are both very interesting because how I even met you guys, and then found out further your backgrounds, as I got to know you, is pretty incredible. Because like it started meeting Jesus. We first go ahead and introduce yourselves. Who the hell are you? Like little bit. I'd start with you, Jesus.
Hi, my name is Jesus Cruz. I am what am I? I'm like a filmmaker. I'm like a lucha libre promoter. I am a comic sometimes. So that pretty much sums up me: comedy, lucha libre, and filmmaking.
Oh yeah. And Aaron.
Right on. I'm Aaron Arevalo. I'm a painter, custom cake maker, just get shit done type of person. Got to pay bills, so whatever it takes. What do you need done? Is the question. What do you need done? Not what do you do? What do you need done?
What do you need done? I like that. But yeah, because like it's strange how I've known you guys and some of the, even through just the some of the experiences that we've had together, that like I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, those are the only two guys that were there with me, when that went down or whatever. Because I met Jesus. I used to do a show out here in Newark at Love at First Slice, just a pizza place it was a venue. I started running a show there in 2013, and then
until you burned it down.
I did not burn it down. I really wish I'd build it back up if I could. I live right by it. I'm like, of all places, I would want a venue again. They still got the sign too. The sign is still out there on the marquee. Like it just tells you how Newark is sometimes. But yeah, I used to run a show there, and Jesus came by. I don't even know how you heard about the show. Do you remember?
I saw a flyer. I go there I went there all the time to get pizza, especially when it was Shakers.
Uh-huh.
And when it was Love at First Slice, I went in there and I saw the flyer for comedy. Uh-huh. And before that, I'd already been producing comedy shows with Butch and Jason Arminio. Do you know Jason Arminio from New York as well?
Yeah, no, it's funny because he grew up in Newark. He was like a year or two younger than me, but I didn't get to know him until after he moved to Sacramento. And then he like stopped doing comedy, like because he was doing it pretty well. He was a polished dude too, and I was a little intimidated when I first met him. And I was like, "You're from Newark, right?" And tried to connect, and he seemed a little like kind of distant. And then cut to years later, I'm running my Livermore rooms and stuff, and he would hit me up, and because I kind of lost track of him and stuff, and then we're good friends. He pops by from time to time. He doesn't do comedy that much anymore, but whenever he comes by, I'm like, "You want a set? You want a set? You can totally get a set." He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll take a set." So yeah, he does fine. Yeah, he's a good dude. So that's where I met you there, and then we became better friends after you used to yell at me around town. You would see me walking around, be like, "MeanDave," and I'm like, "What the fuck is yelling?" And
not even offering you a ride, just like, "Hey, MeanDave."
No, just "Hey, MeanDave." Yeah, I hear that from a bunch of people, but it was funny because one time I remember I was passing by Mi Pueblo, and when it was open, and you were coming out of there or something, driving out of the parking lot, and that's when you yelled, and I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, what's up?" And but yeah, so then we got, I think you started getting into producing a little like shows again, and then you started doing comedy, and it was kind of in that process. Then I think I came in. I cannot remember when we first met, Aaron.
It was through Jesus because me and Jesus met through a mutual girlfriend of ours. And, Jesus was doing shows for Comcast, and they were doing the what's it called?
It was called Inside City Limits or something like that.
Yeah, in the city limits. So they're doing like local, small businesses. And so he shot a video for my bakery at his house or at her house, and then we became friends. And then I tried to make him come to the huddle because he was always going to the crowd pole bar, and then. And then, like that's when he was getting rolling in the comedy, starting to, go to open mics and stuff, and so I'd go and follow him around, and that's where I think I might have met you at
We met once before when you were dating that chick, because we had a premiere. Actually, I had this fucking poster right here. It was for the zombie luchador movie that we made. And you guys went we had our screening out in SF. So I remember meeting you there, but it was just very quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, because I can't remember specifically when we first met, Aaron. It either was at comedy shows, because I would see you around when either Jesus's early shows or whatnot. But I specifically would, easily remember you from when we would all go to because I did not know that Jesus was involved in wrestling and lucha libre and all that until I found out he was friends with my buddy Mike Sills, Shooter Silva, who I always look for any excuse to keep this background on my. There he is.
I might have taken that photo actually.
Yeah, Newark Zone, and but he ends up. Like, what's funny was when I think it was because I saw on Facebook that you two knew each other and you were commenting, and I'm like, how do you guys know each other? And then I remembered Mike used to not just wrestle, but he did wrestle for some of the lucha shows, which were, I think, some of your shows.
Yep.
And because he used to tell me stories about training with some of those guys, and they were pretty crazy.
Did you go to the shows at the Metro when we did the metal and lucha shows? Was that you?
No, I didn't go to that. I went to one show. I was in a band that wrote the Shoot to Thrill theme song for his tag team, and we recorded it very poorly, but they used it. And I saw it they did that one show in San Francisco at that one Mexican club. Acapulco, yeah.
That was my show, yeah.
That was your show, so then I was there. I might have even met you at that show. That was like in the late 2000s. Yeah. And that's what's funny, because then Aaron and I might have even met each other too prior to knowing each other, because he's friends with members of my family.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Yeah, then we realized we're damn near related.
Pretty much. I think you dated a member of like.
No. My two of my sister-in-laws, they're all my sister-in-laws now, are Gordillo cousins.
Oh, they're the ones. I'm forgetting their last names.
The
Iaps. Yeah. So because you knew the Iaps, and then
I went to high school with one of my best friends was Sarah. And the younger sister and my baby brother have kids.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so like we're family no matter what now. So
gotcha.
We're
Sarah's because they're basically their aunt is my godmother. So like my cousin Angela is their cousin by marriage or whatever, and then and so they're like cousins through marriage or whatever the fuck. But we used to see them around a lot. And then
you got the Guatemala Nicaragua connection right here.
Yeah.
Practically. Well, I mean, because we're Mexican and Guatemalan, but yeah, and they're Filipino too. That's
they're Filipino and Mexican. Yeah.
So everybody's all fucked up.
Yeah.
But so but the time that I think the times that really that we bonded most was then, and this is the story I love to tell. Is when where comedy and wrestling all clicked together. In 2015, I was invited to go to be a part of something I had no business being a part of, thanks to this dipshit right here. This one, that's the one right there, and this is his claim to fame too. This is the highest he's ever going to be reaching in what he does, and being a one night jobber. But I got asked to be a manager, a wrestling manager, which I'm not a wrestling manager. I'm a comedian. I'm familiar with wrestling enough. Jesus knows the wrestling promotion around here, Big Time Wrestling. In Hayward, run by Kirk and Jason Styles. Jason Styles, and they're actually, as we all you knew the one. She's the champ. I've mentioned her before. She's the champ now. One of the women's champs, Bailey. She came from out here. Yeah. And did you know her too, Jesus?
I met her when she was training a few times, yeah, and then right before she went to Big Time, to WWE meeting Big Time.
Yeah, because it's crazy too. Because to look at her, you would have never guessed that this is somebody that was going to go to. I mean, she just looked like Girl Next Door. Yeah, you've seen the Mulkeys, Randy and whatever the Mulkeys. They were like the historic the historic jobbers of like.
Yeah, like they would always lose and shit.
WCW. Yeah, I'm like, she kind of was like, I thought she'd be like the Mulkey sister. Nope, she's like the big champion, which is fucking.
There's footage that I have of hers where she's a spectator. She was going to those shows when she was like 10, 12, something like that.
I doubt it. No, I mean, shit, I might have seen her around when she was a child because I didn't start going to those shows till like 2003, I think, maybe 2002, but so we end up. I get asked to be a manager. I'm like, I try to talk the dude out of it. He then convinces me because I'm like, I'm not taking any bumps. I know that these guys train, even the managers. Like it's disrespectful to the wrestlers. Lo and behold, that guy was disrespectful to everything, as we learned in the long run. But I was like, sure, why not? Fuck it. You know, he might throw me some money or whatever. And the first person I thought of to ask was Jesus. To help me because I'm like I had to come up with this character
Innovation
that was Dave Jobs or some billionaire tech guy, and I'm like, okay, well if I'm a billionaire tech guy, I want no interest in wrestling. It's strictly financial, so I'm going to have security, and what better security to have in wrestling than I'm trying to save a buck and also have some intimidating security. So I called upon Jesus to be. You came up with the name too, but you were my Mexican drug cartel's head of security, the best security pesos could buy. What was the name?
I forgot the name I used.
Yeah, you had a funny name for it too, and you played it perfect. He just had the sunglasses, spoke nothing but Spanish, was yelling at everybody, and even like acted a couple times during my little.
I took a bump. I remember one time in the ring. I forgot. I think one of the twins gave me a hip toss or something.
Yeah, you did. Well, I don't think it was anything that extreme. You did do something though. There was something. Yeah, because we were very minimal in our thing, but you were perfect, like in handling that. Because you've been trained. You trained. That was. I mean, it was like one of those things. But the funny thing was, and you came to that, Aaron. You were at both of the ones I went to.
Right? That was Santa Cruz, right? The Santa Cruz night.
Yeah, and the first one was the good one. That was the one that went well.
I think I only went to the second because I remember I was gonna fight the promoter piece of shit guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
I forget what was going on, but I
he was being a dick.
I brought an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
A little crazy ex-girlfriend, and I don't remember what he was doing, but like I was like, I don't want to leave without flight. We have to go because I'm gonna fight this guy. And then I think it ended up like you guys, like money was an issue at the end or something.
No, the whole thing was because that's why I thought you went to the first one, but I guess not. I guess yeah, because we all rolled together for.
No, he only went to the second one.
He only went to the second one. Okay, because the first one went.
I just remember wanting to beat that man's ass, and then then it was like, oh. And we're not getting paid. And I'm like, no. Like,
no, this was all that happened because the first one went reasonably well. I mean, smooth, whatever. But it was on the ride home. Jesus told me, he goes, yeah, that thing's gonna fucking explode. Like, there's nothing. Like, there's a lot of red flags with that show. And he broke it down to me on the way home, and that was and I was like, oh shit, like I wouldn't know. So, and then it was when he asked me to do the next one, and I hit up Jesus if he wanted to do it, and he goes, I'll go because I want to see what's going to happen. I don't want to be involved in the so I'll go. So that told me something. And then we showed up at like 3 p.m. Or no, not 3. It was after. It was like maybe like 4. So we were early. It was early, but it was still
early, yeah.
And the ring wasn't even set up, and the ring should have been set up by then.
Oh, didn't they owe somebody money for the ring or something like that?
It was. Well, what happened was, he was under the understanding that the ring that the Hood Slam guys, because what he was doing was basically getting the Hood Slam guys to be his promotion that he was building his on the back of, and he was calling it Beach Slam. And he didn't really have anybody really of his own other than these few comedians that I was part of and just himself. And he was just doing it to showcase himself. That was really the whole point of it. Yeah. And so it was really, and so he was based on his behavior, I guess from the previous thing, and I guess some online, they were beefing online too. They didn't bring the ring, and he was, and this is also a dude who at the time and over time has proven to be on a lot of coke and probably steroids too. So he was misbehaving in all kinds of ways. And then so basically we saw it. He bought a ring last minute. He bought a very cheap ring. You knew what was it, like a backyard ring or something?
It was like a backyard wrestling sized ring, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was low, very low to the ground, smaller. I do remember what the reason with Aaron and he got pissed off was because they wouldn't let me, they would, understandably so. They were with me, but they wouldn't like let him in. Like, no, dude, they're with me, right? Like, no, okay, whatever. I think it was his girl.
Yeah.
Said, okay, we're opening the doors. She opened the doors. People were starting to come in, and he had a fucking fit, and he's yelling, "Get the fucking people out of the fucking!" And like Aaron and the chick were right in front, so it was like he's directing at them. You guys get the fuck out of here! It's like, dude, they told us the doors were open.
Yeah. No, there was.
Well, again, so we had the whole ring fiasco, and we got there in that late afternoon, and so everything had been pushed back, and so we were just drinking.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, I'm like, I don't like that redheaded guy. Like, he looks like an asshole. Yeah. And then he proved it. And I'm like, I'm beating this guy's ass tonight. Like, hope he gets it out in the ring. Cause
Well, he did. And that was what was beautiful is in the end, he pissed off the entire, how I knew something was bad, not just the ring not being set up, was cause I brought 2 bags of sandwiches from my old job at Small Food.
That's right.
Like I brought a bunch of them because I'm like, these guys are big. They're gonna be hungry. They'll eat all of these. We had a bunch that weekend, so I brought them all with me, and I gave them. I remember who's the dude, Coach Nugs or whatever.
Yeah, Joe Applebomber. Yeah, Coach Nugs.
Yeah, he's a mean son of a bitch.
Big dude too.
I brought the bags. I put one in front of him, and I went in the back and put another one in front of them. And Nugs goes, dude, we've been here all day, and this is the first sign of anything like any sign of appreciation or generosity we've gotten all day. Yeah. And I was like, oh damn, like he was appreciative, but he was also like, we're all fucking livid. Like they were ready to leave. Like they wanted to leave. And so they ended up getting the ring put up. But also another sign, one of the funniest things, I remember Pete Munoz was there that day. He was doing something part of it too. And when Pete's even kind of like raising an eyebrow, I crack him because he sees all kinds of shitty behavior and doesn't like, he's like, yeah, whatever, man, suck it up. But on this particular day, he saw it was dude and his girlfriend. He told his girlfriend, he goes, okay, I need you to put up this curtain over all these beer signs and stay out of my way. and Pete repeated it because I heard it be said, but I didn't exactly get it. And then Pete repeated it to me, and I was like, "What the fuck is this dude? What is his problem?" And because I knew he seemed like a friendlier sleazebag when in the time before this, but this was where all bets were off, and he was really showing his true colors. And then later, as the night progressed, he pissed off the entire lineup of Hood Slam and the other wrestlers that he got. He had was it Chupacabra, I remember, was on that one.
Yep.
And
the
some
twins.
Other they had Drugs Bunny,
Stoner Brothers. Yeah,
Stoner Brothers.
That's right, Drugs Bunny.
He pissed them off to the extent that they all then were like one by one, many of them were like saying like, I'm not wrestling, no, because you're fucking this up or whatever. And then he was then was saying that refusing to pay them. And then that started escalating things. And then basically the Stoner Brothers came out at one point in the whole thing. And not only that, the only people that were there were Hood Slam fans. So Hood Slam fans and some Santa Cruz people, but it was largely Hood Slam affiliated people. So then the Stoner Brothers get out there along with everybody else, and they're calling that dude out to come out in the ring, and because they're going to whip his ass. And he wouldn't come out. The whole place was chanting his name too. And he was still was not coming out. And then the funniest part about it, so everything falls apart. Me and my friend Sean Sinha also grew closer that night because we were involved, and we were just like, what the fuck is gonna
Oh,
happen?
I forgot he was there. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Sean Sinai was there, and we all were just like, this is a meltdown. What the fuck? And then the thing that after it all blew up, Chupacabra got in his face. He was, threatening him, and this was all in front of people. Like, this wasn't backstage. This was like they were yelling. Yeah. He was being yelled at by dude. Like, we paid. It was great to watch. I've never seen a wrestling show come undone in front of me. That's why Jesus came. Like, he sent something.
He knew it was going to happen.
He's at one point they cornered him. He was holding his bag. I don't know if he had money in there, but he was like this.
They chased him all around after the event. After everybody was out, there was still just the wrestlers and a few of us and us, because I was like, I'm waiting to see if I get paid or if he gets his ass kicked. Either way, this is going to be fun to watch.
And it's worth the night.
He does a Randy Macho Man impression, but that was never as good as this one, because he was running around the entire place going from like one door in. He like locked himself in a back room. They had to get the owner to come get him, and it was. And then I got paid a whopping $20. But the hilarious part was that he then thanked me. He goes, "Yeah, man, thanks for having my back, dude." And I'm like, "I didn't have your back. I was just waiting to see if I got paid or if you were gonna get in worse trouble." Yeah. So
that's right. I do remember you have to stay behind to see if you're gonna get paid.
Yeah. It was such a weird fiasco, but that was where we bonded. I felt we all kind of came together in that regard. And,
I can think of another time we bonded.
When's that?
At the Octo Booty.
You did go. I was just wondering. I'm like, did Jesus go with us to that?
Yeah.
He did. Okay. I thought so. Because you performed too when we did our little comedy.
Yeah, I performed.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I ended up that whole night, I ended up putting it in a set later. And I was like, oh shit, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
she called you a gentleman.
Oh, she did call me a gentleman.
Where was that? When did she call you a gentleman?
So remember the whole, the ring where everybody's in line.
Yeah.
I'll set the stage. So we're all in line. This nice young lady has her ass propped in the air with a pole in it.
Yeah,
and
everybody's ring toss.
Everybody's lined up playing ring toss on her. And one of them had fallen. I think one of the girls we had brought in through the ring, it fell, or like it didn't make it all the way. And so she, was like, oh, like kind of like she's on, like give her like another chance type of thing. And Jesus comes over, picks it up, hands it to her, and she goes, "Oh, what a gentleman!" Shout out to Octo Booty.
Octo Booty, Deja Morgan. Hell yeah.
Deja Morgan, the pride of the East Bay.
Exactly in Vegas. It's funny because like one of my music buddies swears up and down that she's just some Vegas or not Vegas, just some Fresno chick masquerading like she's in Vegas. I'm like, I don't think so. I think
she's from Oakland.
Yeah, she's from Oakland. She lives in
Vegas. She
Vegas.
has this little palace in Vegas. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we all follow her on, and she does her little music stuff, and she's hilarious too. So
one of the only funniest things at the actual comedy portion of it was when this guy named Tom Baum went up there.
Oh yeah.
And he's all fucked up, and he's like, "Oh, I came down here because I wanted to see fucking Octobooty," and you clowned. I'm like, "Dude, he lives in fucking Vegas where you live. Like, you came all the way to San Francisco to see."
Yeah, you drove all the way from Vegas to see Octobooty, who lives in Las Vegas. Yeah,
the whole setup of that was so. I mean, Dave, you got us in, on the best pretenses and the best way. You knew you guys can go to the comedy show, get the fuck out of there, and we get to go see the free Deja Morgan show. Mm-hmm. You knew that, we knew that. But these other idiots are in there trying to put on a show, and they're like, remember, it's just us upstairs in the comedy lounge.
Two other guys like that.
And then they're like, well, let's go down and see if we can rustle up. And it's like, you're going to get a bunch of guys in a strip club to come upstairs to see some live comedy. Like, you're going to get punched in the face if, like, you're a man tapping another man while he's sitting at the strip club table. Like, hey, why don't you come upstairs with me? Got a comedy show you need to see. Like, that's not going to work well.
That's the thing about Detox. Detox is a cool dude, but he also, there was a part of him that I'm just sort of like, do you realize like there's things that I wish he was a little more like cognizant of, like, we're in a very one purpose place. Like, this is as much as and if we do a comedy show here, primarily this room is for people smoking weed, and you're trying to take advantage of, like, you got to smoke weed only in this place. And if you're going to be forced to listen to this and watch any of these guys try to be comedians in the early morning. It had good intentions when it started, and it was somewhat fun in the beginning. But on that particular night, I just knew, because the show wasn't regular at that point, and I just, as soon as she was on, I'm like, Detox, hey, put a show to, like, do a show so we could get in, because the club itself, what he must have sold them on for the club to allow it, was like, oh, the dudes are going to show up, and they'll, like, even if it's just comics, they'll be paying for dances and stuff like that. And not many are going to, not many did. Yeah. Most of them weren't really even like, and I just remember I liked the whole notion of getting in, seeing like a feature. I just wish it happened when Sophie D was working there, or was doing a weekend, because I would have loved to have met Sophie D. But I did get my face smashed in between Samantha Saint's boobs during she was a porn star I wasn't even aware of until I went to that thing, and then I learned about her from there. She was actually really funny. She's pretty cool. She was, nutty gal, brought some girls with her. They heckled a comedian who wasn't doing too well, and he got mad, and she offered a date with him, and he said no. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I was like, dude, it's like the rule of Winston Zedmore in Ghostbusters. If a porn star asks you to go on a date, even if it's not real, you say yes. Yeah. But I think Dillian Harper too was the first one I saw there too. There was another one, but so we bought it on that night. But that was also after, because one of the things I learned, I brought it up on, we had Aaron on our show and tell recently, and I've mentioned this before or whatever. I worked here, and this was the job that, thanks to Jesus, referred me to Aaron to go work here at the attempt at trying to bring a good idea to Newark. And Newark's not a place for good ideas. All right. It's just bottom line. But while working there, that's when I learned about, because I learned of Aaron through you. I knew him as being a top-notch cake maker you run Misery Loves Company. That's your business, where you make both cake and cool as fuck items of the dark
horror decor,
horror nature, and other affiliated stuff. But one day when you walked in, we were talking, and you told me this whole other history of you prior to that you lived. That was pretty incredible. If you don't mind talking about that or tell that story.
I've lived several different lives, but one of them, which you're talking about, is when I moved to Southern California. I was 21. 9/11 happened and put me out of work. I used to run an inspection laboratory. 9/11 hit, put me out of work. I had to get in the car business, learn how to sell cars. And then that's as the economy started to pick up again. So we're killing it selling cars. I was making a lot of money, and then ended up starting a mortgage company, and that took off. So we're making mortgage money. So it was a lot of excess Orange County, craziness, private jets, and dealing with, NBA players and other nonsense that, you get to only hear about sometimes, but I got to be a part of. So it was a fun time. Orange County is a different part of the world. Orange County's beautiful. It's on the beach, but it's not that old. So there's no history. It's not like LA where it's a port city where you've got decades of culture coming in. Orange County has no food. It's all BS restaurants. It might be fancy, but there's no real Mexican or real Italian or real Chinese or anything. Yeah. It's just there because of money, and a lot of it is new money. So it's a very, very wild place to be. That's why right now, or a few months ago during the whole pandemic and Black Lives Matter, and when everything was really going off, that was probably one of the few places in California where they were, yelling at the poor, Black Lives Matters kid in the middle of the street, tell them to fuck off and, take your mask off. You don't need a fucking mask, and you still need a mask right now in Huntington Beach. They don't care.
Yeah. So, because that was just the thing, because I think we were talking, I forget how even we got on the subject, but because I just remember thinking, I'm like, so wait a minute, you were one of those dudes in like the movie The Big Short when I was you see the Judd Apatow movie, it's not a comedy, but it was about the housing market crisis and all that, and then you were telling me about what your work in it and like being on the front line of seeing that shit as it happened, and then
we were the like second, third tier of the big boys. My other partner's best friend, they own Quick Loan Funding, which Daniel Sadak, which they attribute him single-handedly to the fall of the subprime market. Him alone. There's a documentary about him blaming him for it. So he was kind of like our big brother, but still our competitor. So he was the one that showed us how to do everything, and he was from the car business as well. When I got in the car business, my brother said, you have to meet my friend Daniel. He makes $1 million a year selling cars. And I thought, he's full of shit. Everybody says, oh, they make $1 million. Like, it's like, no, go ask him, tell me my brother, he'll show you his paycheck stubs. And sure enough, I made $1 million a year selling cars, no craziness, not a manager, not anything like that. The guy that stands outside and sells cars. Wow. So he took that, flipped it in the mortgage industry, and he was doing craziness. That's what we'd fly to Vegas with him, and he's leaving $1 million markers, walking on $1 million marker, walking on a $2 million marker, coming back to Orange County. Wow. Just crazy lavishness. Hanging out with crazy people doing stupid, crazy things when I shouldn't be. But yeah, I was one of those dickheads at 26 driving a Bentley in Orange County and just doing way too much life, too much living.
But you did it, man. That's the thing, man. It's like, to me, it's like a whole other, it's an alien world, Same Jesus doing lucha stuff. I mean, that's the thing. When I learned, it's like learning about the lucha, wrestling world and whatnot. And you were even putting on some shows there for a minute in Hayward.
I just want to go on record that I made zero money.
Of course. Who does, But yeah, I mean,
I just want to go on record that I have zero money now. It's gone. But yeah, no. So when I met Jesus, I didn't know what was going. Like, I met Jesus. I know he was doing the Comcast thing, and then, we'd be places. So I'm like, oh, Jesus Cruz, and it'd be like some 1970s hacksaw Jim Duggan dude, like.
I'm like, Shane Cody,
this, and like, yeah, he'd know all these like old school wrestlers. Like, have I seen that guy? Like, he was on TV for this, but he used to on all these crazy events and stuff. So yeah, he took me to he took me to one in like deep Oakland, like in some warehouse.
Oh, it was a Hood Slam, but it was when they were in their warehouse, the Victory warehouse. It was before they were in the Oakland Metro.
Yeah. Oh, that was still Hood, but that was definitely Hood. I get the name now.
Or they were still ping ponging shows. I think the shooting shows were soon.
They've been an evolution because they like what you saw. I mean, you saw the meltdown that was like not even a show. You watched a show collapse, but Hood Slam puts on a really good like an evolved product from like that takes wrestling, but then adds way more theatrics, way more humor.
Yeah.
And
I went to one of the big. I went to one of those big ones. At the other place where it's a full blown Metro, show. I've seen that one. That one's cool. Yeah. But the other one he took me to was like in this cramped warehouse where there's like people like standing on shelving in a car.
So that was their training. That was their training facility. So that's where they trained, and then they moved that ring over to the Oakland Metro.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, you get to see the punk rock aspect to the whole thing. And now there's so much different. There's so many things different. I mean, one of the main people is a woman now, like, there's a lot, and they've been like on the forefront of a lot of that, to where a lot of promotions now are like, kind of like trying to, I mean, cause wrestling's always been like way behind, cause it's part of the whole other rest of the country, not behind, but like, this was like the forefront of, I would say, like, trying to be progressive wrestling. And then now other promotions are like trying to appropriate a lot of that shit too. But Hood Slam stays Hood Slam, and who knows exactly how they've been handling all this stuff. But yeah. So I got like 3 minutes and 40 seconds the final of my free Zoom with multiple people.
The free trial.
So what? I guess Jesus, what do you got going on now? You got anything to promote? Any movies or something?
No, I'm still shooting short movies. You can follow Running Chef Productions on YouTube. My personal one is JX Cruz 510. I'm still doing a lot of writing. I'm actually taking a screenwriting horror workshop in Spanish right now because I want to start writing more in Spanish.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to and work.
And Aaron, what do you got going on?
Just a lot of art and cakes right now. So follow my Instagram at Misery Loves Co 510 or my OnlyFans. That'll help out a lot.
Please do. Yeah, get on that shit. So, and yeah, with the OnlyFans. Actually, it's funny because there's been people that I've been meeting. There was like girls that were joking about might have to start one. I'm like, it's probably. I mean, I've seen worse start them. So yeah.
I may be actually starting like a Yelp of OnlyFans to promote the girls because there's so many girls that start them.
Yeah.
But you need people to eyes on you to know that you exist. So I'm thinking of being like Yellow Pages of, I don't know. We'll see. We'll let you know. But
I got a couple minutes so I can mention Aaron's cakes. Don't just look them on there. I don't know if if the clip's on YouTube, but Aaron was on Cake Wars and is known for being one of the sole competitors to drop his cake on purpose, just to basically let them know that we're not. Don't worry, nobody watches my show, man. I can. But no, it's just one of those things that cracked me up because my mom called it and I did. So I'm gonna ask him, why would he do that? Why would he get on a show and just whatever? And I'm like, yeah, okay, so you're right, Mom. So, well, thank you very much, dudes.
Prove the point.
Good, always good chatting with you. Hopefully, talk to you guys in the online or in the future shortly.
Thank you, brother.
Right on. Have a great night, guys.
You too, man. Thanks.
Have a good day. You too.
I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I say? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I say what I mean. That's true. I mean what I say. That's so mean, I had a dream, I beat myself up. I broke my nose, I broke my head, I wrestled myself to the ground. That's how mean, you know what I mean? I practically lost, and it took me all night. Give it all right, because I'm so mean. I'm mean, you know what I mean? I jumped myself to death and broke the choking wall down. Then I snapped my cup up and threw it across the fucking rain. I'm mean what I say. You know what I mean? I'm meaner than spit. I'm meaner than shit. I'm meaner than me. I'm mean.
Well, that's it. That was your gift. Hope you enjoyed it, because that's all you've earned this year.